President Trump says, claims online that Good violently, willfully, and viciously, this is a quote from him, ran over the ICE officer, adding that it is hard to believe he is alive.
We went through video of Wednesday's deadly shooting frame by frame with retired ICE agent Eric Ballier.
She's trying to get around that vehicle, is what it appears to me. She has the steering wheel turned to the right, and she's trying to get away. Someone is fleeing. That is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
Well, President Donald Trump has been pressed on his rather callous and I would even argue idiotic response and reaction to the fatal ICE shooting of Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday. But he did change his, did he change his tune? That's a better question. Did he change his tune after he was confronted with the facts and footage of the incident? Before we tell you, Cenk, I'm curious, your 2 cents. Has anything changed in your mind since yesterday?
No, things have only gotten worse, in my opinion, for that ICE officer and the folks that are enthusiastically backing him. But let's go through what is definitively true, what is in dispute, and then draw our conclusions from that. And as you know, this has become a Rorschach test. So people are seeing what they want to see, but there is an actual reality, and it is on tape, and there are laws in this country. So let's break down the facts and see what conclusions we all reach together.
So President Trump sat down for a wide-ranging 3-hour-long interview with the New York Times, and this topic, of course, came up. How could it not come up? And so he was asked about ICE's fatal shooting of an American citizen. He once again told the reporters that the woman, Renee Nicole Good, was at fault. Okay, the journalist asked him if, in his mind, firing into a vehicle like that was acceptable, to which he responded, "She behaved horribly, and then she ran him over. She didn't try to run him over, she ran him over," which is just not based in reality. Okay, I don't care where you stand politically, you can't watch that video and argue that she ran a person over. She didn't do that. So when the reporter said the videos of the shooting didn't confirm what he was claiming, he asked his aide, Natalie Harp, to pull up the video right then and there, which I'm glad he did. And then he says, well, Trump said, the way I look at it, it's a terrible scene, he said at the end of the video. I think it's horrible to watch. No, I hate to see it. So he didn't exactly backtrack or double down on the original claim after he actually watched the video. And when asked if his administration's anti-immigration tactics had gone too far, Trump actually just entirely sidestepped the question and instead pivoted to condemning the Biden administration's handling of the border and immigration overall. So before we get to some of the analysis of the video, some of the evidence that I think is worthy of looking at, any thoughts on Trump's reaction, Cenk?
Yeah, look, there's two different schools of thought here among the right that are supporting the officer. One school of thought is, his life wasn't in danger, and he didn't get run over by the van and etc. But you know what? She was doing the wrong thing. She shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't interfere with law enforcement. And you F around and you're gonna find out and they're gonna murder you. Okay, they're gonna kill you, okay? No, I don't love that reaction, okay? But then there's another reaction, and then that's driven by their ideology, but at least they're somewhat on planet Earth. Then there's the reaction of, no, he was within an inch of his life. He was about to be murdered. And she smashed over him, and his life flashed before his, come on, guys, come on. He walked around afterwards, we saw it on video. So is he mortally injured? Of course not. I guess you can dispute whether his life was in danger, but look at the video. It's not even close. She's turning away. He could just step aside. And in fact, he does step aside as he's shooting her to death. And Anna, the last two shots are indisputable. They're from the side. You literally have to be blind not to see that he didn't have to shoot her in the head from the side.
Well, I agree with you entirely on that. And that's the evidence that I want to go through, right? So everything was happening and moving quickly yesterday. We have a little more time to actually process video and images. And here's another look at it where you can see that, the victim here, she's driving away while the shots are being fired. So you see 3 still frames, and undeniably, in the third frame especially, you can see the officer clearly shooting at her as he is at the side of the car, not in front of the car. So on top of that, the video shows the agent who shot Renee walking around the scene for more than a minute after her car crashes into a pole. And I think that's relevant information as Trump administration officials, whether we're talking about DHS spokespeople or Kristi Noem saying that this was terrorism. This poor ICE agent was brutally injured and had to go to the hospital. Take a look at this video and you tell me what type of injuries we're talking about here.
The federal agents on scene do not appear to rush to provide emergency medical care. Eventually, the agent who shot the motorist approaches the vehicle. Seconds later, he turns back around and tells his colleagues to call 911.
Shame! So he allegedly did go to the hospital, but he must have driven himself, because you do see video of him entering his own vehicle and driving off, which, by the way, I could be wrong about this, but aren't you supposed to stay on the scene and administer aid? Why are you getting in your vehicle and driving away? And could that potentially be a crime? I don't know for sure, but these are questions that should be raised. Then for more than a minute, this guy's walking around seemingly unscathed. I mean, you can see it for yourselves. And yet you do have people like Kristi Noem saying things like this.
Secretary, can you expand too on the agent's injuries? The president said that he's lucky to be alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
From every video that I've seen, I have yet to confirm that he actually got hit by the vehicle. I'm not going to take Kristi Noem's word for it. I'm not saying that he didn't get hit to some extent. I just haven't seen any evidence of that. And I'm open to viewing that evidence if anyone wants to send that to me. But the exaggeration of the injuries, and I'm pretty sure, his decision to go to the hospital had more to do with covering his own ass. I'm sure he was probably talking to his lawyer, who told him, you better head over to the hospital.
100%.
Yeah. That's my theory. That's not confirmed, but that is my theory. Now, interestingly, there's someone in the Trump administration who hasn't been willing to embrace DHS's account of the shooting, and that's anti-immigrant ideologue and border czar Tom Homan. Asked about Kristi Noem's statements and DHS's assessment immediately after the shooting, and that this was all an act of domestic terrorism. Here's what Homan had to say.
I'm not going to comment on it. This is an ongoing investigation.
You say you can't comment on the video, which many Americans are seeing and reacting to.
I'm not going to make a judgment call on one video when there's 100 videos out there. I wasn't on the scene. I'm not an officer that may have body cam video. It'd be unprofessional to comment on what I think happened in that situation. Let the investigation play out. And hold people accountable based on the investigation.
I think many members of the public are calling for the same thing, and so they're confused. Maybe you can help me understand how the Department of Homeland Security could conclude so swiftly that this is a, quote, act of domestic terrorism, that this woman, quote, weaponized her vehicle. By the very same standard you describe, this investigation is just getting started.
That's a question for Homeland Security. I'm the border czar.
Look, I don't have warm and fuzzy feelings toward Tom Homan. Let me just be very clear about that. However, the reaction that we got from Homan is the reaction that I wish we got from our leader. That's the kind of reaction I wish we got from the president. Instead, he decided to throw gasoline on that fire. And he never ceases to take advantage of every opportunity possible to increase tension, tensions in this country. In the case of Tom Homan, there are potentially some conflict with Kristi Noem reasons for why he reacted the way he did. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care what his motivations were. What I do care about is that he gave the right response. Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, look, more things we know and don't know. So we're going to talk more about this later, but JD Vance called her a deranged leftist. We don't know anything about her yet. Okay, in fact, it turns out they were like, oh, she's an anti-ICE person. That's apparently not necessarily true at all. Her ex-husband and her mom says, what are you guys talking about? Legal observer. No, she's not a lawyer. And they say she was just dropping off her son. So Kristi Noem, she says immediately, right away, doesn't know a thing about her. She's a domestic terrorist. Come on, guys. No, sorry. Look, I'm trying to not be insulting, but you really got to be mental to think that she was a domestic terrorist, a 37-year-old mom with 3 kids. I mean, look, not that this should matter, but described as a good Christian, etc., family person. You can go on and on.
A devout Christian, by the way.
Yeah. So what is this? Come on, this is not domestic terrorism, etc. And so, and one thing, Anna, we should be able to agree on, but we can't even get this bare minimum. It's a tragedy. Like this is not the thing to celebrate. And so,
Can I just jump in on that, Cenk? Because like the pain that I'm personally feeling about all of this, aside from the fact that there was a loss of life here, she was a human being, and now, her children will be without a mother, is the fact that after federal agents gun you down, our government that we pay taxes to, that's supposed to represent us, will immediately smear you and lie about you before they know a damn thing about you. And that is just so painful. Like, we really have to stop and think about the country we're living in right now, and how far our system of government has devolved. Yeah. And I don't know where it all ends, but we're not in a good place right now.
Again, we don't even know she was protesting ICE. Associated Press reporting the ex-husband and the mom saying no, she was just dropping off her son. There's always a fog in the first 24, 48 hours, so that'll get sorted out. But guys, would it even matter? I remember the days when a 37-year-old mom who was unarmed being killed is a tragedy and something we should all mourn, no matter what the political allegiance is, etc. But no, we've lost our humanity. And look, guys, so in this case, it's the right wing. The right wing said during the Charlie Kirk thing that a bunch of left-wingers celebrated his death. And yes, that did happen. Was it the entire left? Absolutely not. And by the way, to be fair to the right, in this case, it is a big number. And I tell you guys all the time when it's not a big number, when MAGA is split, and they're not overly split on this one. It's a big number, but it's not all of the right, it's not all Trump voters, etc. But either way, we're both sides, way too many people on both sides are looking at things in such a partisan light that they can't see that someone being shot in the head or the neck, no matter what their political affiliation is a tragedy. It's a tragedy, not something you celebrate. And by the way, it is definitely not manly to celebrate an unarmed woman getting shot in the head.
And let me just say, I think that you and I are pretty consistent on this, right? You and I did not make light of what happened to Charlie Kirk. We didn't celebrate it. In fact, I not only condemned it, but got into a shouting match with Destiny on Piers Morgan's show about it. And so, if we keep going in the direction that we're going in, where we dehumanize each other based on political views, this country's not going to survive. It's over. And so we're at this junction where we really have to ask ourselves, which direction do we want to go in? Because the direction that we've been barreling toward is the world of dehumanization, tyrannical government, increased government power, and state-sponsored violence. And I don't think that's okay. That's not what our country is supposed to stand for. And increasingly, it feels that that's where we're at.
Yeah, last 2 things here. Look, the 2 tragedies happening here overall, the meta tragedies are, look, with Charlie, for example, I got some heat from the left for mourning him. I didn't just say, oh, it's bad or whatever. No, he's got kids. He was needlessly killed. Charlie did say terrible things, including about my background, etc. But that doesn't, guys, that's a million miles from violence and shooting someone in the neck. And so we can't let these political differences dehumanize us so that we don't mourn young people needlessly getting killed. On either side, we gotta bring that down. So that's number one problem here in America, that we're starting to see it from such a political lens that some are beginning to not mind violence as long as it happens to the other side. And Anna's right, then we can't be a united country, and I desperately want us to be a united country. And then the second part of it is we're beginning to lose our common perception of reality.
Yes.
Now we're looking at things from such a political bias that we literally can't see straight, right? So in this case, there's disagreement about whether she hit him at all, right? And I've watched the video countless times. I can't tell if she nicks him as she's turning, right? She's definitely turning away from him. And he's in the front for no reason. He moves to the side. Does she nick him at that point? I can't tell. But if you're on the right, oh, she definitely hit him and she nearly murdered him. He escaped within an inch of his life, right? If you're on the left, she was nowhere near him. He just started shooting for no reason. No, guys, no, and that's not a fair description of everyone on the left or the right, but certainly the extremes. So, and then the second one, was his life in danger? So, but that one, okay, yeah. So people on the right, a lot of them say his life was in mortal danger and they won't move off that position. And I don't see it at all, at all. And I don't know, Anna, this is, again, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
I have to give you a perfect example of what we're trying to talk about and condemn here. Matt Walsh, I mean, loves to flaunt his devout religious beliefs. He's a good Christian man. But when it comes to human lives or the human lives of people that he, doesn't agree with politically, who cares? And why is it at all relevant that she's allegedly a lesbian agitator? This is what he wrote on X. This lesbian agitator gave her life to protect 68 IQ Somali scammers who couldn't give less of a crap about her, the most disgraceful and humiliating end a person could possibly meet. Please don't talk to me ever about how you believe in abortion bans because you value human life, you scumbag. Absolute scumbag. By the way, as she's bleeding out, there's a physician on the scene who wanted to administer aid, and the ICE agents blocked that physician from being able to do so.
No, that should be absolutely positively criminal. And I've seen that happen way too often. And so, in the old days when we covered it and it happened a great majority of the time to African Americans, people would, on the right, et cetera, would say, oh, it happens to white people too. And we agreed. And we would show you the videos, the poor white guy in the hotel hallway getting killed by a cop for no reason at all when he's completely unarmed, et cetera. So now we have a white woman being killed. And now the people who are worried about the jackbooted thugs of the government and federal tyranny and don't tread on me are like, oh, she might or might not have nicked him. He's 100% fine. But of course he should have murdered her, but shot her in the head 3 times. Of course. No, and last thing, I'm trying so hard not to get both sides even more agitated. But guys, if you're on the right, that is not a strong position to say that you also would have been so scared in that situation, so absolutely frightened that, oh my God, it's a 30. Oh, she nicked me slightly as I was moving to the side. So bang, 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 I executed her. That is not a manly position. That is not a strong position. Sorry, it isn't. By definition, it isn't. I would have moved out of the way, and if you say no way, no person could have moved out of the way, he moved out of the way. It was super easy to move out of the way. I would have moved out of the way instead of executing her. And I hope to God, I really, really hope that almost everyone watching would have had the decency to move out of the way instead of executing her. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.